In the heart of Kwathima, where the sun always seemed to shine a little bit brighter, lived a 7-year-old boy named Lwandle. His name meant ocean in isiZulu, and just like the ocean, his spirit was full of energy and life, always moving and sparkling. Lwandle lived in a cozy little house with bright blue walls and a shiny red roof, a home filled with the delicious smells of his go-go's cooking and the sweet sound of his mama's laughter. Every morning, he would wake up to the gentle hum of the neighborhood coming to life, ready for another day of adventure and play in his beloved community. Lwandle was a boy with a heart as warm as the high-veld sun. He was known by everyone in his street for his polite greetings and his big, happy smile. "Hello, Mama," he would say to the ladies on their way to the market, and "Right on, Booty," to the older boys playing soccer in the park. His go-go, his grandmother, had taught him that respect and kindness were like seeds. If you planted them everywhere you went, beautiful friendships would grow. His mama always said his kindness was his greatest superpower, a special magic that made everyone around him feel happy and welcome. The little house on Vlakfontein Street was Lwandle's whole world, a safe and loving place where he learned his most important lessons. His go-go's kitchen was where stories were told over steaming bowls of porridge, tales of wisdom and courage that Lwandle would listen to with wide eyes. His mama's garden, filled with colorful flowers and busy bees, was where he learned to be patient and to care for living things. It was here, surrounded by the love of his mother and grandmother, that Lwandle's kind and gentle character was nurtured, making him the wonderful boy everyone knew and adored. Every day was a gift in Lwandle's little big world. He saw magic in the simple things, the way the dust danced in the afternoon light, the cheerful chirping of the sparrows on the telephone wires, and the friendly faces of his neighbors. He believed that his community was one big family, and he was so grateful to be a part of it. This feeling of belonging gave him the confidence to explore, to make friends, and to share his bright, shining light with everyone he met, making Kwathima an even happier place to be. Lwandle's very best friends in the whole entire world were Amaza and Zanakula. The three of them were like a team, always together and always ready for fun. Amaza was quick and clever, with a laugh that sounded like tinkling bells, and she could think of the most exciting games to play. Zanakule, whose name meant bring good things, was gentle and thoughtful, and he was the best at spotting interesting insects and finding the smoothest stones for their collections. Together, they were an unstoppable trio, their friendship a bright and colorful thread woven into the fabric of their everyday lives. Their favorite thing to do, more than anything else, was to race. From the big jacaranda tree at the corner of the street to the red gate of Lwandle's house was their special racetrack. "Ready, steady, go!" Amaza would shout, and they would be off, their small feet pounding against the dusty pavement. Lwandle was very fast, his long legs carrying him like the wind, but Amaza was just as quick, and sometimes Zanakuli, with a sudden burst of energy, would surprise them all and come in first. It didn't really matter who won. The best part was the race itself, the feeling of flying and the sound of their joyful shouts filling the air. After their races, they would sit under the shade of the jacaranda tree, catching their breath and giggling. They would share secrets and tell stories, making plans for all the adventures they would have when they grew up. Sometimes they would play hopscotch, drawing the squares carefully with a piece of chalk, or they would build magnificent forts out of old cardboard boxes in Lwandle's backyard. Their days were filled with simple pleasures and the pure, uncomplicated joy of being friends. They knew they could always count on each other, for a race, a game, or a comforting hug. The bond between Lwandle, Amaza, and Zanakula was a special one, built on shared laughter and countless hours of play. They understood each other without needing many words. If one of them was feeling a little bit sad, the other two would know just what to do to bring a smile back to their face. Their friendship was a safe and happy space, a little world of their own where they were free to be themselves. In Kwathima, under the warm African sun, they were not just neighbors, they were the fastest, kindest, and very best of friends. One sunny afternoon, as the three friends were getting ready for their daily race, a new boy appeared on the playground. His name was Thado, and he stood with his arms crossed, watching them with a frown on his face. He was new to Kwathima, and didn't know anyone yet. "That's not a real race," Thado said in a loud voice, his words sharp and unexpected. "I bet I am much faster than all of you. You all run like snails." Lwandle, Amaza, and Zanakule stopped and looked at each other, surprised by his unkind tone. They had never met anyone who wasn't friendly. Amaza, who was never afraid to speak her mind, stepped forward. "We are just having fun," she said, her hands on her hips. "And we are very fast," Thato just scoffed. "Let's have a proper race then, to the end of the park and back. The winner is the king of the playground." He looked directly at Lwandle. "You look like the fastest. I challenge you." Lwandle felt a knot of worry in his tummy. He loved racing, but this felt different. It wasn't about fun anymore, it felt mean and competitive, and he didn't like the way Thato was speaking to his friends. Lwandle had a big problem. He knew he was a very fast runner, and a part of him wanted to accept the challenge and show Thato that he couldn't just come and be rude to them. But another part of him felt that racing to be king was not a kind thing to do. He remembered his Gogo's words, "Kindness, Lwandle, is more important than being the best." He also knew that Amaza loved to win, and he often let her win their friendly races because seeing her happy face was the best prize of all. What should he do now? The playground, which was usually a place of pure joy, now felt tense and uncomfortable. The other children who were playing nearby had stopped to watch, their curious eyes on Lwandle and the new boy. Lwandle looked at his friends. He could see the confusion on Zanakula's face and the flicker of annoyance in Amaza's eyes. He knew he had to make a choice. He could race to win and prove Thato wrong, or he could try to find a way to show this new, unhappy boy that there was a better way to make friends than by being unkind and boastful. Lwandle took a deep breath and made a decision. He would race, not to be king, but to show Thato that playing together could be fun without the need for mean words. "Okay, Thato," he said calmly, "I will race you. But we race for fun, not to be king of anything." The other children gathered around, excited for the big race. Amaza and Zanakule stood on the sidelines cheering for their friend. "Ready, steady, go," someone shouted, and the two boys shot off, their feet kicking up little clouds of red dust as they ran across the park. Thato was fast, very fast. He ran with all his might, his face determined to win. Lwandle ran alongside him, his heart pounding in his chest. For a moment he thought about letting Thato win, hoping it might make him feel better and stop being so cross. But then he remembered his Gogo's other piece of wisdom: "Always try your best, my boy, but do it with a good heart." So Lwandle ran his fastest, not against Thato, but with him, enjoying the feeling of the wind in his hair and the strength in his legs. They were neck and neck as they reached the turning point. As they rounded the big baobab tree to head back, Thato, who was looking over his shoulder to see if Lwandle was catching up, didn't see a large stone on the path. His foot caught on it, and he tumbled to the ground with a loud yelp. He scraped his knee badly, and big tears started to well up in his eyes. Some of the other children who were watching started to laugh. They pointed and whispered, "Ha ha, the big boaster fell down." The sound of their laughter made Thato's face turn red with shame, and he hid his face in his hands. But Lwandle didn't laugh. He immediately stopped running, even though the finish line was so close. He forgot all about the race and rushed over to where Thato had fallen. He knelt beside him and said in a soft voice, "Are you okay, Thato? Let me help you." He gently took Thato's arm and helped him to his feet. He saw the big scrape on Thato's knee, which was bleeding a little. Lwandle looked at the children who were laughing and said, "It's not nice to laugh when someone gets hurt. We should help each other." Lwandle carefully helped Thato limp over to a nearby bench and sit down. Amaza and Zanakule ran over, their faces full of concern, forgetting all about Thato's earlier unkindness. "Does it hurt a lot?" Zanakula asked softly. Amaza, always practical, ran to the park's water tap and wet her handkerchief to gently clean the scrape. Thato looked at them, his eyes wide with surprise. He couldn't understand why they were being so kind to him after he had been so mean to them. Why are you helping me?" he whispered, his voice trembling a little. Lwandle sat down next to him and smiled his warm, gentle smile. "My Gogo and my mama taught me something very important from the Bible," he explained simply. "They taught me that we must forgive people and always be kind, even when they are not kind to us. Getting angry or laughing at you doesn't help anyone, but helping you makes everything better." Thato listened to Lwandle's words and he felt the anger and loneliness inside him start to melt away like ice cream on a hot day. He had never had friends who were so kind. The next day at school, during lunchtime, Lwandle, Amaza, and Zanakule were sitting under their favorite tree sharing their lunch. They saw Thato sitting all by himself on a bench far away looking lonely. Lwandle waved and called out, "Thato, come and sit with us! My Gogo packed extra fried dough for everyone!" Thato's face lit up with a small, shy smile. He slowly got up and walked over, limping just a little, and sat down with them. Lwandle handed him a warm, fluffy fried dough, and Amaza and Zanakule made space for him in their circle. From that day on, there were 4 best friends who raced on Vlakfontein Street. Thado learned that winning wasn't as important as having friends to share your laughter with. He stopped making unkind comments and instead learned to say kind words. The 4 of them played together every afternoon, their joyful shouts filling the air. Lwandle's little big world in Kwathima had become even bigger and brighter, all because a simple act of kindness had turned a challenger into a friend, making their circle of friendship complete.